Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to the review of a brand new piece from one of my favourite micros, Borealis. Now Borealis have long given me the impression that they know exactly what they're doing. As a company, they very much have their head screwed on. Really consistent product range over the last 3 or 4 years, mostly dive watches, occasionally veering to the left and right of that, usually between $350 and $450 US. They also have their own way of doing business. They'll take a 50% deposit from customers during the pre-order phase, and then a 50% balance payment when the watches are just about ready for dispatch. Also very consistent is the high quality of the products that they have been offering. I haven't had a Borealis that I haven't enjoyed, and I must have looked at least 5 or 6 of them by now. I've referred to them as homages with a twist. Certainly the last one that I looked at, the Adraga, bore more than a passing resemblance to the Rolex Explorer. Similarly, I've looked at Panerai-esque ones and Blancpain 50 Fathoms-esque ones. This brand new model, the Olisipo, I think perhaps the most original design then that I've seen thus far from Borealis. There are whiffs of Doxa and Seiko here, but it doesn't seem to get its inspiration from one particular watch in the way that the Adraga certainly did. The eternal question remains though, is it any good? Let's flip the camera and find out. So like I said, Borealis have their own way of doing business. This one currently in the pre-order phase. That means you pay $195 now and $195. They're expecting this one to be ready for distribution next May. So about 6 months to wait. Doesn't seem to stop people buying them though. They sell out pretty much every single watch every single time. 6 different colorways here available with date or no date. That gives 12 variations altogether. About half are gone. I suggest that if you are keen on one of these, you jump on it quickly. They will no doubt all be gone within the next week or so. 12 months warranty with these, which is going to feature in the moan and niggle section later on. I feel that micro brands really should standardise now to 2 years minimum warranty. It's a little bit sneaky of them, I think, dropping a year off the warranty. Anyway, more on that later. I've got 2 of these to show you today. Both no date models. I've got the pale blue, the kind of powder blue dial, and I also have the white dial with the gold hands and indices. Before we go on, these are prototypes. There's going to be a couple of changes made between these and the production units, including tighter tolerances on the bracelets. As such, by the time you watch this video, these will be already on their way back to Portugal or to the next reviewer. But Carlos, the owner of the company, will be sending me one of these in the colorway of my choice in due course, just so that we're clear. So what do you get then for your $390 US? Well, I think you get a well-made and attractive, quite simple actually dive watch, this one, powered by a Japanese Miyota high beat auto. 40mm in diameter, but just over 12mm thick. So one of the advantages of using a Miyota 9000, that's the movement in this, is that it's got a fairly short stack. You don't have to have a big lumpy 15-16mm watch, and Borealis, I think, wisely have chosen to make this one nice and slim with that flat sapphire crystal. Just under 47mm lug tip to lug tip with drilled lugs. 20mm lug width tapering down to 18 on the President. My first encounter with a President bracelet, and it is actually very nice. Back up to 20 at the clasp, and this one, sized up for me, weighs in at 145 grams. So bang on that. Stainless steel sports watch sweet spot, although I must admit it doesn't actually feel like it weighs that much. I think there's probably a bit more proportional weight in the links of this President bracelet rather than in the head of the watch than would normally be the case, so it wears very, very nicely indeed. So I mentioned the flat sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, 316L stainless steel case, crown, bezel and bracelet. The bezel action is outstanding, 120 click, unidirectional rotating. You can hear that one, I'm sure. Very, very pronounced click. No backplate, no bounce whatsoever. And we have a fully loomed ceramic bezel insert. I'll put the loom video up now. BGW9, definitely one of Borealis' strength as a brand is their application of BGW9 loom. It is consistently very, very good. Like I said, these are prototypes, so you might expect the quality of the loom to be a little bit rough, but it's just not the case. Ample on the hands and the indices, and plenty on that ceramic bezel insert as well. All very, very nice, really super legible after dark, to be honest. Case finishing is very nice. We've got a horizontal brush on the mid case, polish on the upper and lower edges, and a little bit of brushing again on those lugs. Borealis sign crown, unguarded down there at the 4 o'clock. Nice and grippy though, and check the machining on that bezel. Very, very high quality. Like I said earlier, they're working on the tolerances. A little bit too much shake and rattle between the lug ends and the end links here, but they assure me that that is going to be taken care of for production units. Let's have a look at this President bracelet then. President is basically a 3-link Jubilee, 3 kind of semicircular links. You can see large gaps, meaning there is a bit of flex in here already. It's quite all right, that's the style. These are proper screw links. They are nice and easy to size. And because of that recessed end link here, the whole bracelet conforms very quickly to the wrist. As I said, this watch doesn't feel like it's got 150 grams to it. It wears very nicely, very comfortably indeed as well. Pretty simple clasp, 4-hole micro adjuster, just the Borealis B there. Fold over, no security pushers, but this one is nice and stiff because it is fairly fresh. Proper scissor clasp at least. Let's have a zoom in on this texture dial then. Certainly one of the more interesting features of this Olisipo. We have got a mixture of applied and printed. Borealis just printed under the double baton at 12, 300 meters automatic printed above the single baton at 6. Everything else is applied, so double at 12, singles at 3, 6 and 9, and half batons everywhere else. Very much matching the handset. Quite a simple handset on this one today. Fence posts, not a lot of texture to them, but I think they do the job, and as you saw from the Loom video earlier on, extra real estate given over to the Loom. Nice little semi-paddle second hand there also. Now all of those indexes sit on a slightly recessed center section. There's a slightly raised therefore Untitled Chapter ring around the outside with a minute track, larger markers for the 5-minute intervals as well, and that's it apart from the texture. I would say it was kind of shell-like, fish scale-like, almost like tiles. Perhaps the camera doesn't do it justice on this white one. I'll insert some footage of the blue one as well there. Maybe it's more pronounced with the darker colours. Generally speaking, this white one isn't the most legible. The gold on the white doesn't make it the easiest dial in the world to read. Perhaps if legibility is paramount to you, you should be looking at one of the other colourways with a slightly darker dial for extra contrast. Popping a link to show you the case back, and if you're a fan of the brand or you've seen some of my Borealis reviews before, the Mermaid should look familiar to you. Screw down helping, as I said, with 300 meters of water resistance and the usual spec sheet including an advert for the automatic Miyota 9015. So they use the 9015 regardless of whether you buy the date or the no date version, so you do have to contend with a ghost position, but it's not really an issue if I'm being honest. Japanese made 24 jewel high beat automatic, so you get that nice smooth sweep of the second hand. It does only spin in one direction, but you can barely feel it, or certainly not hear it, because this is a solid stainless steel case with that 300 meters of water resistance. Stated tolerances of -15 to +25 seconds variance per day. I'm not going to put these on the time grapher because they are just prototypes, but generally I've been getting somewhere between +5 and +10 from these Miyotas fairly consistently, and as you can see there, solid end links on that bracelet. But the Olisipo really begins to shine when you get it on wrist thanks to that 12mm height and that compact lug to lug of just under 47. Nice President bracelet, and as I said, it conforms straight away. It really does fit me a treat. I've got a 7-inch wrist for your reference. There are enough spare links provided with these ones to go, I would say, 8, 8.25. So even if you are a bigger guy with bigger wrists, but you prefer a slightly smaller 40mm diameter watch, you should have no problems with this one at all. Gold on white and studio lights, as I said, perhaps not super legible. I'll take these outside for you in just a second. Maybe the orange dial or one of the dark blue black dials would give you a bit more legibility if that is a concern. Silver hands against the powder blue dial, perhaps a little more noticeable, but again, it's not super legible as the two colours are relatively close to each other. And that's the watch outside for you in some natural light, flat sapphire crystal covering the dial with a bit of anti-reflective undercoating. But because of the colourways that I received, it's that ceramic bezel insert and even the chapter ring which are the most noticeable things on this one, rather than the dial and hands. On wrist though, super comfy, carries its weight very well I must say, and only 12mm thick. Definitely one of the most comfortable wearing 40mm divers that I have had in for review in quite a while. But nothing's perfect. What am I going to complain about today? Well, Borealis do have their own system of ordering as discussed. That's not going to be to everyone's liking. A lot of people want that instant satisfaction and gratification that they get from ordering something and receiving it within a week. This is not the case with Borealis. You are going to be waiting for about 6 months. I'm surprised given how readily they sell out these models that Borealis haven't taken that leap to ordering them en masse first, knowing that they're going to sell them all pretty much guaranteed anyway. I guess it works for them, but it surely will put a few people off. The President may be comfortable, but the clasp is a little bit ordinary for a $400 watch. I would have loved to have seen them taking that up a notch. Maybe just adding security pushes there, a couple of extra holes, maybe just spending an extra couple of dollars on this. Now to my eye, the dial on this one is a little bit skew-iffy. It's leaning to the left. I have no doubt though that that will be resolved for production units. As I said, these are prototypes that I'm dealing with. And it's perhaps not the most exciting design that I have encountered so far this year. Wears very nicely indeed, and as I said, the machining on Borealis consistently high quality, very comfortable bracelet. You know, it's a solid choice, perhaps a little bit conservative on the design though. Seashell pattern accepted. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more oomph, a bit of pizzazz on that dial that I think is lacking at the moment. But overall, it's a solid choice and another solid offering from Borealis. There is a reason that these watches sell out just about every single model, and that's because they're pretty good. So there you have it, the Borealis Olisipo, another very, very consistent product from the brand. $400 US, you know exactly what you're getting from Borealis. That's why they sell out every single time, and I suspect this one will sell out within the next week or so. So if you are keen on one of these, I would be jumping on board to avoid disappointment. As I said, it is probably their most original design, and I felt maybe just lacked a little bit of pizzazz as a consequence. I'm really interested to see where they go though with their next few models, whether they're going to keep doing these homage reference watches or whether they're going to forge their own path. Given the quality on offer, I would love to see them do that a bit more often. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.